everybody, it's Maria, and today I wanted to talk to you about homeschooling with a little one underfoot. Now, a lot of people kind of asked for this video, or at least some people did. I don't know about a lot, but I totally understand that. I remember when I was pregnant with my third child, we had a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, and we were doing kindergarten work and some pre-K work, and I was just fretting about how am I going to homeschool with a newborn. This is not what I should have been concerned with. Homeschooling with a newborn is fine. You might be a little bit more tired just from staying up with them, but you can do a lot of read alouds, especially with younger kids. You don't need to be doing a lot of extra focus work. Newborns sleep a lot. They take lots of naps. It's delightful. It's when they start moving around that you need to start being a little bit more concerned. So homeschooling with a 1.5, 2-year-old, I'd say for my husband and I, in our experience, the age from about 2 to 4.25 is like the time where nothing makes sense. You can't be reasonable with them. Last week, for example, so ours is 2.5, our youngest. Last week, she went back and forth within 5 minutes between, Mom, I need your help, and Mom, I can do it myself. Mom, please, I can't do this, to leave me alone, I need privacy, back and forth, back and forth. And so it's just kind of that, I don't know, nothing makes sense, and you just kind of have to deal with it. So when you're trying to homeschool with a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old underfoot that you can't be reasoned with and can't be ignored, it gets a little bit more challenging. So this is how we have been dealing with it. First of all, anything that I can do as a read aloud for all the kids, I always do. So a lot of times we'll have morning time or cuddle time, whatever you want to call it, where we're doing a science read aloud or just a literature read aloud. We're listening to an audiobook while everybody's kind of playing with their hands. They're either drawing in their coloring books, or they might be playing with their blocks or their train stuff. So a lot of people can kind of do that with read alouds. And read alouds, honestly, I do not remember one single textbook, but I remember so many books that spoke more volumes. I remember books about the human body and books about botany and books about artists and those kinds of things. Those are the things that I remember. So I would much rather use those than a workbook or a textbook any day. And it saves you a lot of time because it can appeal to lots of different age levels. So that is my first thing. Make things as easy as you can for yourself and do as much as you can with read alouds or activities that all ages can do. Like, there's no reason that everybody has to have a separate project. That makes it more crazy for you. First thing. Second thing, when I do have things that I want my older kids to do on their own, I can either write. For a while we used notebooks, and each day, I really want to get back to this, notebooks or Post-its on a board where we would write down what they wanted to do, what I wanted them to get done, what was expected of them, whether it was practicing their guitar, doing which spelling pages, doing their handwriting work, or math pages. Those are the things that they're expected to do on their own without me. I can be there to help, but I don't have to like monitor or hover over them constantly telling them that you need to get it done. Once it's in that notebook or in that Post-it, they can see what needs to get done. And it also is nice because I feel like when you're on the days that I have not done that, my kids have been very frustrated because they're like, when is school going to be done? What else do I need to get through for, me to go play and do my own thing? And so when they have that list of, okay, I'm here, I need to get this off my list, it's helpful. It helps them learn time management skills. It helps alleviate you trying to kind of nag. Now, if you have a 6-year-old and they are not that kind of person, like, don't worry about it. That's okay. Maybe have 3 things that you want them to do on their own, or even 1 or 2 things depending on their attention level. So I think a lot of times when you're starting off homeschooling, we all want to do everything perfectly, but there's a temptation to feel like you have to, teach them all the things within the first year. And there's always going to be gaps. My mom is a school teacher, and she will always say there's going to be gaps whether you're homeschooling or not. Your goal is to teach them how to learn and to give them some skills and some basic stepping stones so that whenever they do need to learn things in the future, they can do that. So don't sweat the small stuff. The other thing that I do is I have lots of activities that she can do while we're working on our things. So these are my favorite things that she adores. This first one is called a Buddha board. And actually I should have put water in it to show you, but there's a miniature version, which I think is $15 or even like $8 for the really small one. This one was more expensive. We got it as a gift. I think it was $39 for the big one. But what you do is they use it in Asia to practice their brush lettering. You fill this with water and you use the brush to paint on it with water. And it's great because everything kind of evaporates. There's no mess. If it's water, it spills. Okay, you just wipe it up. So it's kind of fun for her to practice. She'll practice her shapes or her letters. I've used this with my boys whenever they're practicing their letters. I've used it when I've had a really bad day and I just want to let out all my frustration. So I'll draw like a really angry, angsty picture, or I will write curse words all across it, and then it just evaporates into the air and I can let go of the frustration. So Buddha board, these are great. I love these. So yeah, that's a fun one. Another thing that is one of our favorites is Kinetic Sand. Now, we got the name brand Kinetic Sand because I don't think it's called, it might be Moon Sand. But read the reviews because some of them I know are not as good. This one like is very easy pickup. So you can even like clump things together. Kind of see, yeah, it like kind of stays together. It's not like sand, so I don't feel like it's everywhere. She has her little Moana figures that she plays with in there, and she will play that for hours. So depending on if you have a boy or girl sometimes. I remember my middle child would do a lot of train tracks when my older son was working on things. So it really just depends on what your kid is interested in. Take full advantage. And if you want to get figurines of something that they like to make it worthwhile, go for it. Another thing you can do is just things that are counters. A lot of times she likes to feel like she's doing school too. So these ones are just different manipulatives of different colors. And so I can have her say, you know, sort them into groups, or can you do 1, 2, 3? She can organize them. She can line them up. It doesn't really matter. And there's so many different choices for manipulatives. I've seen really cute ones with like bears and animals. These ones are just pretty simple. Another thing is lots of books where they have, like, she's starting to get to the point where she wants to be able to read to herself, which I know is not where most 2-year-olds are. She's got her mommy in her. So I feel like she's starting to kind of ask about letters. And so we have several different things where she can kind of, this is tracing letters. We have some letters that are just actually like, they're kind of like clay rocks, almost letter shapes. I should have grabbed those. And she will place them on top of their little tile to match it. There's alphabet puzzles, number puzzles. So these ones, you just can kind of use your finger. Another thing which I found online, I don't even know, like maybe 5 years ago. So I don't even know. I assume it's still online somewhere. Probably could Google it. And I just put these in page protectors. Somebody had put together, and I apologize if you did this, I don't know who did it anymore. But these are like just paper sheets that I printed off, and they have the letters, and it looks like a road. And so you can take little Matchbox cars or little figurines and trace the shapes on the road. And I thought this was genius. You can make this for yourself if you wanted to. So we have used that with all 3 of my boys, even when they were starting off with their letters. These quick sticks are pretty great. They are like chapstick paint, basically, but they're very washable and easy to clean. Yeah, no water needed, dries in 90 seconds. So you can use that to color on different coloring books or pages. I try not to use a lot of coloring pages, personal preference. For me, from the research that I've done, it does more to let them have blank sheets of paper and make their own creations. I feel like a lot of times people will get coloring books, which is great, and I love coloring books even for me, but make sure that they don't just do coloring books. Make sure that they have blank pages so they can kind of create their own things. I think it's really valuable. I wish more people would do that. Another thing we got is Melissa and Doug. I mean, they have so many different great things, but they had these little magnet animals. And so I just went to the dollar store and got a tin tray where she can move them around all on her own. Also, sometimes when Target has the flashcards around school startup time, they have animals flashcards. So I got a package of those for $1, and she can match the magnet with the animal. Obviously, there's gonna be some extra animals in there, but that was kind of a fun thing for her. Wiki Stix are another good thing you can use to make letters or different creations. Sometimes people even get them for party favors for things, but Wiki Stix are great. They're like basically string dipped in wax, and they don't really dry out. We use those a lot on car trips because we don't do screens in the car. Or on car trips, it's our preference to use audiobooks or other things to entertain themselves instead of everybody just kind of zoning out into their own screen. So the other good thing that I did mention before, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 1-year-olds are great for homeschoolers that are older because they can do reading practice. They're very non-intimidating. My boys, especially my eldest, who is a little bit more nervous about reading in front of people, he would do anything for his sister. So he would sit down and practice reading Elephant and Piggy or other books when she was little, and she would just sit and listen, and I knew he was getting his reading practice in. Also, they're entertaining each other, and I could work with one of my other children. So yeah, I think that's also a good thing. So I think the more you try and frame it as, instead of a challenge, but as a good thing. My 2-year-old probably has more verbal skills because she's used to hearing me and her brothers talk all the time. She has a very close connection with them because they're not away at school, so she can play with them all day and get to see what they're doing. A lot of times, homeschool groups don't mind if younger kids tag along. Our state park has no problem with younger kids tagging along for different nature programs. So don't think of it as a deterrent at all. I think it's really just been a great thing for us. So those are the things that I do to try and make homeschooling easier with a small child. And again, when they have nap time or quiet time where she's just off doing her own thing, that's when I do my more concentrated, I choose whatever subject I know is gonna be hardest for them, or a game that like I know that she's going to wreck, and we do that then. So really, it has not been as bad as it could be. We've really enjoyed it. I know there's all different kinds of kids, and so you're going to have to kind of figure out what works best for your children. But hopefully these are a couple of good solutions and suggestions for trying to engage not just one of your kids, but all of them, especially if you're trying to homeschool or do, school readiness. So I will talk to you all later. If you have any questions or even suggestions for other people that you've used, put them in the comments below. The hive mind is always better than just one person on their own. So I will talk to you all later. Bye.